Hi, uh, I hope you can hear me. This is my first ever stream on this channel. Um, so let me introduce myself. I'm Archie, and I am a game developer, obviously. So I'm currently working on a game that is called My Grandpa Turned Into Zombie. At least he stopped asking when I'm having kids, so here's the game. I hope you can see it. Most likely you're watching this on recording, so I will still act like there are people watching it. And today, as it says in the title, I'm gonna work on a zombie death animation sequence. I don't know how to call it properly. So I hope you can hear me okay. I hope you can see me okay. Let's start. First, let me show you what I currently have. And yeah, the game is visible. So there's the level. And here I need to grab a gun or something. I guess there's one here. Oh, didn't save the victim. It doesn't matter. So when zombie dies, it breaks into pieces. It's quite a generic animation. And that comes with a sprite I purchased. If you want to know what the sprite from is, it's here. I think just look for ggulmul on itch.io to get the exactly same sprite. It's quite cheap actually. I think the minimum price is $5 or so, maybe even less. And I want to make it something more interesting, like an explosion where parts of the body just, explode and fly in different directions. Maybe different dependent on the damage type. So if you saw the gun previously, right? But there's a bazooka over there, and there's one more on the roof. Let me just grab one from the roof here. Right, so with this bazooka I can explode the level, but if I explode zombie, still disappears. Quite the same. So maybe dependent on the damage type and based on a weapon, I can, slightly adjust the animation of the zombie. So what am I thinking? I hope you don't hear the noise, but if you hear, I'm sorry. It's too warm here to close the window. Okay, that should be fine now. Now if I go to one of my very old projects, sorry guys if you're hearing that. This is the tanks that I built ages ago, and I never finished it properly. But I hope you don't hear the noise. I'm sorry if you did. Again, this is my first stream in ages, and yeah, I quite forgot how to do stuff here. I probably, if we do something interesting on this stream, I'm gonna cut this into a separate video. So this is the game actually. This is not a random item. That's actually a test of the shader. As you can see, this part, the front of this is a tank body, obviously, and you see it changes the color, the shade, based on the angle. So it's like a shading test. I didn't want to go into the game, so I placed it here. So if we start the game here, and there is a spawner, and little tanks are coming out. So I'm shooting, and you see they are exploding and ripped into pieces, and those pieces stay for a while, and they make a random formation every time. So I want to make something similar, and actually this exact implementation is very easy to achieve, and I'm gonna show you how I done it here. So maybe I will make something similar in my main game. So I don't quite remember the structure, so it might take me a while to find where the stuff was. Okay, so this is the bug tank. Okay, pieces, SBG pieces, so that's it. Yes, so basically you got the tank, and it has 6 wheels. It's not really a tank, I guess. And I got random pieces, like they're corrupted with dark smoke effect on them, and wheels from 2 directions. And then I have so each sprite, each image has own number. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably starts with 0. Yeah. So I say there are 4 pieces of this element, so 4 wheels looking like this, then 2 wheels looking like this, and then 1 of each of this element. So those are 4 parts of the body, and then I don't know how to call it. What's the name of this thing? I think the gun or the head or whatever. So then when it's dead, yeah, I really didn't open it for ages, and I think I developed it in 2019 or something. Probably in Destroy, yeah, just in still using ArrayLength 1D. When the tank is destroyed, I create random enemy tank pieces, and yeah, assign a sprite based on the array I created here, and the amount of items based on that quantity. So yeah, so 4 of wheels and stuff like that, and they have random direction, random speed, and yeah, after a while, after some time, they are disappearing. So I can make something like that, pretty much exactly the same implementation. The only difference is, obviously my game is a little bit a 3D, which you will see later on this video how it works, and it will not be as simple, but it's fine. I think we can make it work. So first of all, let me turn off the demo mode. I just built a demo and uploaded it on Steam, so by the time you're watching this video, it's probably approved. And yeah, you should see the link in the description, I think. Let me see if I added it. No, I didn't. But anyways, you can join the Discord in the description and get all the information there. Now I'm gonna work on that zombie. So first I turn off the demo mode, which allow me some extra features which aren't available in the demo. So for instance, I can edit the level using the in-game editor, and that's the main feature of the game. I didn't tell anything about the game, by the way. So I want to place a gun here, so I don't need to chase it every time, or I mean look for it. So yeah, I grab it, and as you can see, this is the zombie spawner. This is the zombie spawner, and since the player is not located in one of these large zones, there are no zombies spawning whatsoever. But if I do a few steps down, you see they start immediately spawning. So I grab the gun and I can shoot them straight away, and yeah, they're quite aggressive, so I already lost 1 HP. So yeah, this animation is quite good, but not as entertaining as I would like it to be. So I think what I'm gonna do 2 things. First, when zombie dies, it's gonna be an explosion animation, and I look into the explosion strengths later on based on the damage. But for now, I'm just gonna add some explosion. Then I'm gonna create pieces, and you know, just give them random direction. They're gonna fall. We have z-axis here, so they're gonna fall from z-axis down, like rotate and turn and whatever, and then after some time they will disappear or not. We'll see. It's probably gonna be a performance issue if we keep them lying on the ground. Probably just there are actually one more possible solution I can do to make them stay forever and not affect the performance, but we're gonna look at it later. So yeah, first let's break the zombie sprite into pieces. I guess this is step one. And if you played the old Mortal Kombat games for like Sega, Genesis, or Super Nintendo, you might remember the fatalities where they had they exploded to pieces, and it could be like 4 arms, 6 legs, and stuff like that. I'll try to make something more realistic. So the number of parts of zombie parts will be exactly as it should be. So this is a tile sheet for zombies I'm using. It's not all the animations available in the pack I mentioned, but yeah, that's all I need, at least at this stage. Later on, most likely, the whole thing will be redrawn. So let me find the sprite that has all elements properly detached from each other. I think this one, yeah, this one will work. That'll do. So let's make a new one. And how do I break it? I mean, yeah, just gonna make what's the size of the largest element? It's this, right? So it's 22 by 28. Let's make it 32 by 32. So new sprite. And first I'm gonna beheading the guy. Sorry, my friend. Well, you're dead. Don't care. And add it here like so. I'll place it in the middle, and then new frame, and I'm gonna get arm. So I'm not gonna get the whole arm, split it in 2 pieces. Why is it? Can I create a new frame? An empty frame, new empty frame. Alt B, okay. So there is an arm, and actually let's do it this way. And there is gonna be this part of the arm too. It would be better if I completely extracted it so I don't copy overflowing elements. So let me just start it over. Yeah, so first we're gonna get rid of head again. Add it here, new frame. Part, forearm. The left arm. Now the shoulder of the left arm. You don't have to be very precise with what exactly you are copying. I mean, pixel to pixel, or make them look perfect. They will be quite dynamic. They're gonna lie in random positions, so nobody really gonna care about it unless you care. But if you care about such things, I recommend you not to, because you're gonna waste too much time on something not sufficient, not important, right? So the next shoulder, right arm. Okay, I'm gonna add torso. Yeah, just about right. Right leg with this pixel. Another leg. Okay. So our whole guy is now split it in pieces. So I think I'm gonna use the same approach I did the last time. I'm just gonna export it as a sprite. And I'm gonna do it. Yeah. Actually, it's not that important. I'm just gonna put it on desktop. Alright. PNG. I wonder which way we're gonna export them. Oh yeah, it's not as I expected. I guess I just export sprite sheet. So yeah, that's perfect. into my components, enemy zombie. I'm gonna create, okay, those are different animations, so this is a spawning animation, for instance. And I'm gonna make a new sprite as zombie pieces. Okay, and import strip image. Got my zombie 32 by 32. How many? I think it was 9, right? 9 frames. I think the last one also. No, it was 10. 10. Okay. Perfect. And now I got all my elements. I'm gonna set the origin to the middle center. So if I'm gonna rotate sprite, it's rotated around the middle of the element. But I wonder, is that a good idea? Yeah, probably according to physics, if you rotate the body, it's gonna rotate around its center of mass, so it's gonna be around the element, anyways, the center of element, so it should be fine. Okay, so we got zombie pieces. Now we got our zombie, and it has the state of dying, and I think it has, I don't remember, is that a function or, okay, so this is disappear. No, wait, disappear is just when it's out of camera viewport, and it just goes away without making any sound, without making any animations. So dying is the state that we are interested in. So we're setting sprite sprites dying, and sprites are global sprite set zombie. So I have a structure, and in a structure I just combine all these elements together like so. There's nothing fancy, just 0 is right direction, and first element of the array it's the left direction. So in this case I'm gonna comment out this setting sprite to dying. I actually need the zombie not to have any sprite from this moment. Well, probably I want it just disappear completely and create a new items on top of it. So I have alarm2 set to 25 frames, and here the instance is getting destroyed. So I guess I just set it to 1, and or I can just literally get it destroyed there. My only fear is that I might interfere with some delayed alarms or whatever, or timelines, but I think it should be okay. So let's just move instance destroy. I'm gonna keep it here just in case. Yeah, so instance is gonna be destroyed, and self explode to pieces, right? And here I'm gonna make this function. The microphone, sorry for the noise. It's covering the part of the screen. It's function, right? And probably we add a parameter equals the strength. It's gonna be from 1 to, I don't know, to 5. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna have a limit, but let's say by default equals to 1, so I don't have to pass it every time. And if in the future I want to explode it, just with a gun it falls on the same position, or when you explode the zombie with the bazooka, then it flies all over the place. Okay, so I'm gonna say explode to pieces, and yeah, literally just gonna create 10 elements, one assigning each having its sprite of the piece, and then yeah, they're gonna fall on the ground. So I need a new object that is gonna act like this piece, and if we want to make them work according to physics, you know, so if let's look at not from the top-down perspective, but like a normal platformer perspective. So if actually, why I'm using paint, I can use a sprite for it. Okay, so let's assume this is the, we're looking from the side, and this is the ground, and this is the sky, and we get the element here. So when it explodes, it can go in any direction, right? It can go up, and then after a while, according to physics, it's gonna fall down like so. If it goes up higher, it's still gonna fall, you know, maybe like this, or maybe like this. And yeah, we need to write a function, and that will change the z. So initially, it's actually don't need too much of a physics. We know that the acceleration is pointing in that direction, and it's constant. Like, let's say now our real world, it's 8.5 meters a second. So if I initially set direction like this, all I need to do is every frame I take down a little bit of the vertical speed until it reaches 0, and then slightly keep adding it until it's you know, going all the way down. And I'm gonna give two directions. So first I'm gonna give initial speed up, and then I'm gonna get some direction, like either this way or this way. We're looking from 2D, but it could be in 360 degrees on X Y plane, right? And then those two will work perfectly. So first the gravity that pulls down, and then direction that doesn't change until the object reaches the ground. Okay, so that's set, right? And so we need three things. First, we need to get an object of 3D object. I have a parent object for it. It's O3D here, which has all this Z physics built in, which is not available in GameMaker if you're not familiar with the GameMaker. So it's custom made, but if you are familiar, you can see how it's done. I can explain it in some of the future videos. So I give it a Z acceleration and the gravity, and it's gonna slow down and fall, and then I'm gonna get some direction in the XY plane. So first is object, the second is gravity, and third is collision. So I don't have the Z framework, the 3D framework built properly, so it works with gravity and everything. The only object I have that works with gravity properly is the player itself, and specifically the player matter. And that's how I call it, and it has all the logic about working with third dimension, the gravity, collisions and stuff. And it's quite computing intense, so I cannot just reuse it. I need to make something simpler than that. So I guess I'm gonna make a general object, which is gonna be called, for now it's gonna be object enemy piece, and it's gonna have a 3D object as its parent. So enemy piece parent O3D, which will immediately allow me setting up some properties like Z position in the world, the height of an object. I will talk about it later, and the rest are not important in our case. The height, I'm gonna set something very low, like 4. Maybe explain it. I'm gonna stay here for another like 40 minutes, so we will not complete this piece of code, but I will continue in the next stream. So now we're gonna add some more properties here. Probably I will add a new class of 3D objects, like gravitating objects, which could be a good idea of doing now, but yeah, if we need it in the future somewhere else, I will move it back. I don't want to overcomplicate this parent dependency. It's already too deep. I mean, nesting of objects, because object 3D is also has 2 or 3 parents itself. So I'm gonna set a gravity, and probably gravity should be exactly the same as the one I'm using for the player, so the world doesn't look like some objects are from one planet and others are from the other one. So I guess it makes sense to move it out as a global variable, which is actually going to affect pretty much a lot of physics in the world. And yeah, I'm going to set it to this value. Alright, and now I want to replace it everywhere here. Okay, so yeah, and it's gonna be here, and the next, no, that's one that we have. Alright, so I think those are all occurrences of z-gravity that I had before, and now what I can do, yeah, I don't need to define it on the enemy piece anymore, so I can remove it. Okay, so enemy piece object, for now I don't need to do anything. I'm gonna say for I'm gonna iterate through each sprite image and then create a new object. For now I'm just hard coding, so this is how I usually do stuff. I make functions that are extremely simple and stupid, and only in places where I'm currently using them. If in the future I need to extend it to make it something more global, I do, but for now I'm just gonna limit it to very simple implementation, and I'm gonna set sprite speed to 0, so when I create objects they don't crazily go through like this, which probably would be interesting to see. Okay, so for 10 I'm gonna create, do I need to worry about storing them somewhere? Probably not. So I'm gonna use instance create method, which is again custom method that just overrides the instance create depth, adding z parameter. And if you know Game Maker, the depth is negative the higher you go. So in the middle it's 0, then -1, -2, -3. So in my physics implementation, the z is the opposite, it goes positive, so everything is reversed. But it makes it easier to work with it if you don't touch depth at all, and I tried not to. So x, y, and z, probably z plus what's the height of a zombie? Anyways, I have a parameter called height. So if z is the place where zombie legs are, z plus height, it's the height of physical model. It's not exactly where the zombie's head, but above z at some position. So, and object enemy piece, right? I hope this English is obviously not my main language. I hope this means piece like a part of something, and not like the piece which is opposite to war. Okay. So, and I'm gonna add some parameters to it, similarly to how I did it for tanks. So first one is gonna be, actually no, I can't do it this way. Or can I? I'll explain in a second. So, okay. Direction, it's irandom range 0359. Okay, so it's gonna set a XY plane to one of the to random direction, and then speed again random range. I don't want the speed to be integer. I want it to be some floating. And actually, I'm gonna multiply it by strength. So, depending on the strength of the explosion, it's gonna fly higher with a higher or lower speed. And since it's always one, it will always be the same within 1 to 2 range. We can experiment with the strength later to see how it looks. And z speed. It's I cannot use the built-in variables for vertical and horizontal speed because that for me vertical is something else, and vertical that is in GameMaker is my y plane coordinate. So z speed here, that's going to be new variable. I might rename it completely to match something like depth speed. So yeah, we have horizontal, vertical, and depth speed. Probably, yeah, I'm gonna keep it like this. So I name axes like width, height, and depth. Width is x, so left to right. Height, it's like up down. No, not up down, but from toward me, away from me. And the depth is actually height from ground to the sky, whatever it's called. So depth speed is going to be, again, we're going to experiment with it. And yeah, let's just copy paste it and we will adjust values later on. So we have that. And zombie do have a very simple collision function. No, actually not zombie. I'm gonna copy it from the projectile, player projectile, and from bazooka. And here we have a process collision. So it doesn't work in the regular way. It repeats this process once a few frames. So again, not to overload the computing. And yeah, I'm just gonna copy this whole thing together and adjust it for our needs. So enemy piece, and I need to inherit the event. So we got process collision. I think it's worth adding those variables specifically, and probably adding them to the 3D object, because things like, I don't need that. Things like depth, speed makes sense, I guess, for all 3D objects. So I'm gonna add a new variable here, equals to 0, fine. And now I can finally, so do I need to do anything else? Okay, yeah, of course, I need to say image, actually sprite index is gonna be zombie pieces, and image index is gonna be I. Alright, so I set speed and direction, but 3D objects, they aren't single objects. Every time you create an object, it might have a shadow, and you need to explicitly say that there is a shadow. And I'm gonna do that for all enemy pieces objects, so I do it by set and drop shadow variable to true, and then it will create a new object called shadow. So obviously, if I set speed and direction this way, it will only affect the object itself, and it will not affect the shadow. Or if the object is multi-layered, it will not affect layers. So in order to properly affect all these objects like shadow and layers, I need to use set direction image angle, or set direction or set image angle, and set image speed or set speed functions that are defined on all 3D objects. So I don't want to call it here, because otherwise every time I create a piece I need to explicitly call those functions out, which could be a nice thing. But I was thinking to maybe just in create event I just gonna do self set direction image angle and say direction, which was assigned from outside, and then same for the speed. Maybe that's not a good idea. I don't know. I hate these moments when you have two approaches and you have equal amount of pros and cons for each, so you cannot decide here. And yeah, okay. So if I want to define them as, and I think it's if I define those functions to override the default behavior of assigning speed and direction, I should never use those two variables explicitly. So I'm gonna create a local variable for the piece, and then set direction image angle. So no, only the direction. I'm fine if they are not oriented in the same direction. I mean the sprite itself, the rotation of a sprite, the direction that the object is flying to. So set direction, and I'm gonna copy this thing from here. All right, and I'm not sure I have set a speed function yet, so I'm gonna make it now. Just no, there is no set speed thing, and I'm gonna make it and it's gonna say speed equals, and then copy this thing here, and okay, that should do. That should assign the speed to all layers, and that one will assign speed to the shadow. Okay, so that one is done. So where's my zombie? Okay, so we set speed to some value, and we need to that's actually, I have three vectors now compared to two vector speed that is original. So I can either make a new function like set z speed, or I can just set speed and take three values instead of one or two, right? So I'm gonna set speed to each of three axes, x, y, and z, and then inside of this function I'm gonna make, wire those game maker and my custom elements together. But for now, yeah, I think that's what should I do? That's what I should do. Since we set the same for the direction, right? I probably should have done it this way, but okay, fine. That's actually interesting. If I use speed, right, I can use this function to set up everything, the direction and the speed. And to illustrate that, if we are thinking of, so we have a plane, right, and in this plane, let's say we've got 3 axes. One here, actually, at the x-axis. Then we're gonna have the y-axis like this, and we have a z-axis like this. And those are, like, you can treat them as vectors. They have direction, and yeah, those are 3 orthogonal vectors that are perpendicular to each other. And if I just set a speed like so x speed is going to be this much, let's use this color, that much, then I'm gonna have that much over z speed, right? And I'm, let's say, not gonna have y speed at all. That means object will gonna fly like some of this vector, something like this. And it's already, I can get the direction by the direction of this vector, right? And I can get the speed as a length of this vector. So if I want to make a speed smaller, I can just, oh, I draw on the same layer. But you got the idea. So if I want to make the speed smaller, I just equivalently make it the lower value, and the overall speed will be lower, but the direction will stay the same. So actually, I don't need a speed to decide I don't need this function to set the direction. I can only do the set speed and provide 3 real values: the value for x axis, value for y axis, and value for z axis. And then the sum vector of these 3 vectors that I define will dictate the speed in the direction of the object. Okay, I hope you didn't expect, actually I didn't expect any math on this stream, but if you are, yeah, I hope you find it interesting. So, what should I do? So I have 2 ways to go now. First, I can keep everything as is. I set the direction, I set speed, I just get some depth speed variable, some value, and yeah, continue working with it this way. And the bad thing about it is I already know that there is a better way of doing it. But if I am to rebuild it to be the right way, I cannot just do it for one specific object. I have to do it for everything, right? Everywhere I set speed and I set direction, I now need to use this new set speed function that will dictate the whole thing, right? So I guess we know that there is a better way right now, and we're gonna park it and put it in the back pocket and continue with the shitty way, because I'm absolutely not in the mood to rebuild the whole 3D system. And yeah, I should have think about it properly before, but since I didn't, well, I'll think about it later. So for speed, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna get vertical, horizontal speed, and then a depth speed as 3 objects, but I'm not gonna define, yeah, actually, if I define them and in the side of this object I use internal variables, horizontal speed and vertical speed, it's already gonna override this thing. No matter what this is, it's gonna override it. So I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna just set it as a speed. First function argument is gonna I'm gonna use the speed for XY both, so the direction can still have an effect, and the second will be a Z speed. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple for now. Alright, so the second parameter is gonna be depth speed, and I do not need a depth speed here anymore. Image index, sprite index, those are fine. Set direction, set speed, and in set speed I'm gonna say speed, and then here Z speed or depth speed. Depth speed, because it's gonna make more sense. And here I'm gonna have a new parameter. Actually, I think I defined it already, right? Depth speed, yes I did. So set speed, depth speed equals depth speed. Okay, I guess I'm making the whole gravity thing here in object 3D. And I'm gonna add a new parameter affected by gravity. What should be the name of the parameter? The variable. Gravity affected. Let's call it gravity affected. Make it Boolean, and by default not. Oh, I actually don't have a step event here. So that's the thing. I have tons of O3D objects in the scene, in the room, and all the blockers I have, all the damaging elements, layers. I think they are also 3D objects. Maybe not. 3D layer? No, it's not. But the thing is, if I am to introduce a step event that is it's basically gonna work on all 3D objects I have in the room, and if they're a lot, they're gonna slow down the game. So I don't want to do that. So probably I need to inherit 3D object and give it specifically for gravity affected. This decision will be reviewed many times in the future when I encounter a next challenge in terms of gravity affected and stuff. But for now, I'm just gonna make a new object. Object 3D gravitational. I'm not sure if there's even such a word. So it's gonna have a O3D as a parent, and I'm gonna inherit create event, and I'm gonna, yeah, I think it's gonna be affected by the gravity by default, right? Should I set the depth speed to that object? Probably not. Probably not. Or do I? Yeah, since I cannot rely on built-in speed variable that a GameMaker will increment itself, I need to do it in step event. And since I'm doing it in step event, I obviously need to do it in gravitational object. So I'm gonna make a new variable here. Depth speed is 0. Obviously it's gonna change until the object is lying on the ground. So if it's positive, it's gonna fly up until it faces something. If it faces something above, it's gonna change the speed immediately. Set the depth speed to be 0 immediately, and then gravity will slowly kick in and pull it toward the ground until it faces the ground, or go below, I would say, minus 1000 on the axis, and then it will just disappear. Okay, so we got gravitational object, and then this enemy piece is now gonna be gravitational, and this process collision, I think it goes into gravitational object. I want them to work all together. I don't need this event here anymore. I can just change to gravitational, and do I have to make it in step event, or can I process collision and gravity in some a lower interval. Like, you know, in Minecraft you have 60 frames per second, or whatever your monitor is, 144, 320 frames per second. But the game itself under the hood works with like 20 ticks per second, which means for one tick of the engine or the server, you have like 5, 6, 10 frames of the game. And so this is something similar I want to achieve here, but in my case, it's always 60 for the game. GameMaker do not really allow you to do those type of things, like detaching, or at least not known to me. That's actually, I don't think for gravitational objects I really need that proper 60 frame per second collision detection. Well, obviously not for the enemy piece. If it falls and, you know, falls through the ground partially, that's alright. I definitely need to remember my previous position. So if object, let's say this is the ground, right, and object is falling here, since I'm not counting on every frame, so it might be on the next time I check its position, it might be 2 below the current surface layer, and I need to return it, you know, back to the previous position, and probably, you know, do some calculation computing to get it closer, as close as possible. But for now, yeah, so I need to remember this previous position to set it as a point of a new position. Or no, I don't actually need. Never mind. I'll try to explain it. So I think I have only 12 minutes left of this stream, unfortunately. Yeah, we're definitely not going to be able to implement everything, but yeah, for some stuff, let's try, okay? So the check interval that can be again defined as a global variable. Okay, let's group them together. How do I call it? Physics check interval equals, and that's amount of frames. So if a game runs 60 frames per second and I want to do it, I can make it every 5 times a second. Should be sufficient, so it should be 12 frames. 60 by 5 is 12, and if it doesn't work well enough, we just adjust this value later on. Actually never used the physics in a game maker, so I wonder if it has anything to do with z-axis, maybe the whole okay, no, obviously not. It has x, y, and using it wouldn't be any easier than just writing my own z physics. It potentially could in some way, but I'm not gonna mention it here. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. So I'm gonna say that alarm, which I usually tend to move the alarms, especially if those alarms are inherited by other objects. If for example some object is gonna be a children of this object, I don't want them to start from alarm 2 or alarm 3. So if some alarm is general for many children, I usually place it towards the bottom of the counter. So yeah, since I didn't define any alarms on the parent, I take the latest, which is, yeah, alarm 11. So this is going to be equal to physics check interval, and yeah, and we're gonna do the same thing here, so it repeats. Cool. Now we just need to define this alarm and self process collision. I know it's not necessary to use self, but for me it's a better indication of whether that's just a function or a function belonging as like a method of this object. Alright, so I don't need an emitter, no. Process collision. So why does it? Okay, I inherited it from the bazooka rocket, and it's constantly falling down. So I think it will work. I'll show you what it does. So I don't want the bazooka rocket to fly infinitely long on a straight, so I launch it, and over the time it's gonna explode the ground, right? Like this. And there is an unbreakable layer that I placed intentionally, but you can make it completely destructible. Ooh, nice, I've got an issue. I'll take care of it later. Just let me maybe write it down somewhere. Never mind, I will remember. I hope. So here we're gonna do I need a flag saying that the object is already on the ground, so I don't need to run this over and over again. And so what I'm gonna do now is on the ground. I have this here already, standing on the ground. Maybe not. Maybe colliding ground equals, and by default it's false, so we continue, and I'm gonna only do stuff if it's false. So we say if it's colliding ground, return. And yeah, I don't need to check the alarm. The one thing I want to mention though, you saw that you can explode any ground or wall or whatever, so if we assume that object is on top of something and it gets destroyed, object should fall down, right? And for that purpose, I have a global variable which is called, I think it's defined on level builder. No, I think, okay, I know where it's changed though. So in runtime processor, global level structure changed. So yeah, that's the one. So we're gonna say if level structure changed, and I actually might not only have it as a flag because I need to recalculate all objects that require falling down. So instead I will define on which coordinates, but again it's for later on if I need to optimize it. So I say if, what did we change? Where's the object? Gravitational. Okay, so if colliding on the ground and structure has not changed, do I set this flag back to false? Sorry, random thought. So it's on the create. Okay, it's actually there. Runtime processor, remove cells, strict changed. Okay, yeah, every step of this level processor, I basically do reset it, and if something changes it, it changes it. The only problem is order creation sequence, so if object this changes it, I hope you know what I'm talking about. I will worry about it later when I need to optimize it, because it's probably a lot of adjustments gonna happen here anyways. So the gravitational object, if structure did not change and we're still colliding ground, already colliding ground, we don't need to go. And I prefer this no, I always need to set the alarm no matter what. So this is the first thing we're gonna do, right? Because if I don't set alarm here, just return, nothing will ask this method to recheck again. Do I need to do something? Do I need to do something? And actually, it would be better to use event listener mechanism. So this object has a function, and this function will be called every time level changed around some area where this object belongs. But if we need to do it, we'll do it later. So colliding ground and not structure. Okay, so this macro contains the reference to the current level that is loaded in the system. You saw that there's a level editor. It actually doesn't, it's not a room. I'm not using rooms in GameMaker to make those levels anymore. I'm making them explicitly in a game editor that I built. So it could be any level loaded at the time, and R level means runtime level, the level in which we're currently on. So obviously this gravitational object should be limited to level runtime, not the editor, not the menu. So and it's probably fine. If it throw error because this variable is not defined, this object is in the wrong place and should be fixed either way. So this will return the collision, and the collision just the index of the. I have the blockers here. My blockers system is another story. It's based on sprites. So if it's 0, there's nothing there. It's empty space. If it's non-zero, there is a collision. It could be a specific shape, but for our case here, I guess all that important it's that it's not 0, and then we consider that this collision is that there is something in that coordinate, right? So yeah, for this simple object that will be enough. I don't need a precise collision here. So we say if collision I used to use this UF function which checks if object is undefined, and it's again in macros, but I'm getting rid of it every time I see. So let's make it simple. Not equals UF, and again that's it's just a macro for undefined, so I don't need to type it every time. And here I'm not gonna do self-destroy. That means one of the two things: either the object, three things, faced, collided the ceiling, wall, or the floor. And it's gonna be difficult to define the logic because I need to check based on the vector of a speed. I need to check what exactly did we hit, whether it's so probably get the previous coordinate, and let's say the object was here and now it's here, right? And it can be this surface that now says this state of the object is colliding, or it can be this surface and now I'm above this surface, so I'm either facing the ceiling or a wall, right? And having those two coordinates, probably I'm gonna, if this is diagonal, I'm gonna get one object that is right there on the same x-axis, then the same tile that is on y-axis. See which of these two exist. Maybe none of them is, and it's on a diagonal and I hit it on an angle. But if it's here, that means if this exists and this doesn't, means I hit the wall. If this exists and this doesn't, I hit the ceiling. And if this exists, I hit the corner. So based on that, I will change the behavior. So if I hit the wall, I will stop moving toward. Actually, if I hit anything, wall or ceiling. Now, if I hit ceiling, I probably should just change the vertical speed to 0, but keep the horizontal speed so it bounce back, Yeah, so I need a different behavior. And if I hit the wall, it's probably need to bounce this way. So I keep the vertical speed, but I reverse the horizontal or XY plane speed. But I'm gonna do it either off screen or on the next stream, probably on the next stream. Actually, streaming makes me quite dedicated to the task, but explanation takes a lot of time, so I will think on the best way of doing it.